Hey, Luca. Hey, baby boy. This is your Luca segment of the video. He's in the cone of shame, unfortunately. He got neutered on New Year's Eve, and he entered 2025 without any balls. Poor boy. So I had a plan. Originally, I was just gonna talk about my experience with plant burnout, but then after seeing everyone else's thoughts on it, either by comments or by other creators and what their goals were in 2025, I realized that 2024 was actually the year of plant burnout, and I kind of wanted to do a deeper dive into plant burnout. It's just a thing that I feel like everyone has either gone through or is currently going through or will go through. This is the plan for the video. This is our 2024 reflection on plant burnout. I will be doing some plant chores in the video just because I just need my hands to be doing something while I talk. I am gonna do some housekeeping first, so if you are only interested in me talking about the topic for the video, I got you. Your chapter is down below. Please use it if you don't want to hear me ramble on about things that are unrelated to the video. I want to start off this video with a question for you, and my question for you guys. I am interested in knowing what type of content you would like to see from me in 2025. I kind of have an idea of what I would like to do and what I enjoy filming. So I kind of want your feedback as I go into year 2 of being on YouTube. What did you like seeing from me? What would you like to see more from me? And honestly, is there something that I'm doing that you kind of wish that I would be doing? So I'm all up for trying out new content. The second matter that I want to talk about is I'm probably gonna classify this under Plant Diaries episode 2, and I really did a disservice to myself when I picked the title of this series, Plant Diaries, after I filmed, and I didn't really discuss what this series was about or what I plan to do with it. So if you happen to watch Plant Diaries episode 1 and you were a little bit put off by the fact that I was getting a tad bit more personal with what I was saying, then I feel you, I get you, I understand where you're coming from. So let me just talk about what I want this series to be. Plant Diaries, I came up with that title because I kind of have these thoughts pop in my head of just topics that I really want to speak on. I tend to keep a list of it, and I just kind of like add more of my thoughts as they come. Sometimes the topics are plant related, like today's topic on plant burnout, and then other topics like what I discussed in episode 1 was completely not plant related. But regardless, the underlying theme of the series is just going to be more of my observations, my thoughts, my opinions, and ultimately I just want to connect with you guys on a deeper level than just plants and taking care of plants. While I think that's great fun and a lot of my content is geared toward that, I kind of wanted a series that dealt with a little bit more personal topics, weaving in our lives into taking care of plants. And so that's kind of the gist of this series, and to not have this channel just be a person holding up plants, because honestly anybody can just hold up plants and talk about them. I kind of want my channel to go a little bit deeper than that. I mean, there's plenty of channels out there that just do that. I love that for them. It's just for me and what type of person I am, I don't feel like I can put my heart into something until I really connect with it. So this is what I aim to do. Yeah, that's probably the longest intro I've ever had. I can already hear the comments of get on with it. Okay, there's chapters. The props that I'm going to be putting in substrate is this one. I have absolutely no idea what this is called. If I were to take a guess, and I could be wrong, this might be the AH032. I'm gonna have to go through my purchase history and check it out, but here is what the roots look like. Everything is very dry and wrinkly because I let all these props dry out way too much. This is another Hoya that I forget what it's called, but I will go ahead and put it on the screen. I really love how it sun stresses. It's very beautiful, and I remember getting this from UPT, also very well rooted. I have a Louisa Silver that has been growing roots in here for way too long. I have my Angleriana. I believe this is the Vietnam version. This one rooted up very well in the vial, so I definitely want to get this one potted up. I want to pot up my Wilbur Graves silver. This is a full silver one. And then these are all of the cuttings I took from my silver mint coin, the Lacunosa silver mint coin, and I want to just prop them all in the same container. So that is what we are going to be doing today as I kind of talk about plant burnout. The first thing that I want to do is, as I'm cutting the lids of all of these, I want to talk about the definition of burnout because I think that is very important. And I want to include the definition from the man who actually coined the term back in the 1970s. I'll go ahead and put his name since I forgot on the screen. So this is what he says about plant burnout, okay? Burnout really is a response to stress. It's a response to a demand that an individual may make upon themselves in terms of a requirement for perfectionism or drive. Now, when it comes to the plant community, what does that stress look like? Because we are burning out in a response to stress. What is that stress? So, this is what I came to the conclusion of. I think there is more. So, if you guys think of more stresses that I didn't, leave the comment down below. I attribute burnout happening from it can be stress from a plant collection that's too big to take care of. That's kind of the obvious one. It can also be stress from the pressure you feel, especially on social media, to make your collection look as perfect, or stress from comparing your collection to others on social media. That can be one stress that can contribute to plant burnout. And the last one that I came up with is stress from the expectation to always be purchasing and buying the new plants that are coming out, like the it plants, the plants that everyone wants. Those are the three that I came up with. Although I can't say how burnout found you, I will go ahead and kind of speak on how burnout found me in 2024. And I really kind of had to dig deep and go back and just reflect on what happened in 2024. And honestly, for me, 2024 was such a good year in my personal life. I hit a lot of milestones. My boyfriend and I bought a house when I turned 30, when he was still 29. So that's like a huge accomplishment in the time that we find ourselves in. We got a dog and I love him to pieces, and we've always wanted a pet. So that was huge. He asked me to marry him in November. That was like another huge thing. There's actually no roots on this one, interestingly enough, but no, well, maybe we'll just pot it up anyway. There's all these big changes, right, that happened for me in 2024, and they're good. However, I don't deal with change very well. Even if it's a good change, it takes a mental toll on me. And I think the stacking of all of these changes that I was going through in life this year, it just manifested in me coping with it in unhealthy ways, i.e., buying a lot of plants that, felt good at the time because who doesn't love a new plant, right? But in the end, I think really had me burnt out. That's actually the video that's coming out after this one that I have planned. Is I want to do another deep dive on plant buying habits, specifically this compulsive plant buying, plant addiction, that kind of stuff. I already outlined it, and if I do say so myself, I'm actually really excited to record it this upcoming week. Very briefly touching on obsessively buying plants. And this is a thing that I feel like the majority of us do at some point, is we just take in way too many plants that we can take care of. For me, the moment in the year that I realized that I was buying way too many plants is, yes, gradually I felt the pressure of it in my collection too, but it was actually on YouTube that gave me the aha moment that caused me to want to stop buying plants. I realized that a lot of my most viewed videos on this channel were actually my plant hauls. I kind of get that. I think people get satisfaction from people unboxing plants and live through those videos if they aren't buying plants themselves. However, this is a very slippery slope to be on when you are gaining subscribers and viewers from a certain type of content, because then in turn the viewers expect more of that content. That's kind of what drew them in. And then I just had this huge epiphany kind of moment where I'm like, I don't want to be a plant shopping channel. I don't want, the whole point of this channel is for me to buy plants and show plants. Sure, that might happen here and there, but I don't want it to be the main drawing point to this channel. And so I realized that I had to fix what I was doing and also in turn kind of switch that content around. I want this channel to be a channel on me growing plants and talking about growing those plants and showing you guys the plants that I've been growing, not always showing you new plants. So I'm like, oh, I really need to change this path that I'm going down in, because it's not going to serve me in the future, and it certainly is not serving the sheer number of plants that I feel like was starting to encroach on me, just the care needs for my plant collection. Okay, let me actually start doing something and not just be talking about this constantly. So can these all fit in here? I'm thinking they can all fit in here. Yeah, let's do that. I'm just gonna put some leca down on the bottom as I normally do. Now, getting back to why burnout is so prevalent in the plant community right now, it's also just how the hobby is. This is a thing that we can't change. We have all picked a hobby that requires a certain level of productivity, right? You have to be productive in this hobby to have your plants grow well. You need to water them. You need to repot them when it's time. You need to devote a certain amount of time to the care and the upkeep of these plants. Otherwise, they're just not going to do well. I don't think this is like an active thought that a lot of people had when they got into the plant hobby is, oh, okay, yeah, this is another aspect of my life that I'm gonna have to show a level of productivity in. This is just not a thing that I thought about. So there's this pressure that we kind of placed upon ourselves, to be honest, of keeping on top of plants. It's a productive hobby. When we stop being productive, then it's time to face those consequences. And a lot of it is your collection kind of starts to look a bit ugly, and that in turn doesn't do great things to your mood. That adds to the stress. We played ourselves. That's the point that I want to make. That I think is also why some people just opted to exit the plant hobby. This hobby exploded during COVID because everyone had time because they were all indoors. However, when life resumed and these people that just got into it without really realizing how much time this hobby requires, they're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And so they just sold off their collection and left. That's perfectly fine. This hobby is not going to mesh with everyone's lifestyles, and that's perfectly fine. Being aware of that fact, that this is a very time-consuming hobby, will kind of help you understand that putting boundaries on yourself, on your collection, is even more important. Not my best repot, but here you go. This is all of the mint coins. I'm just going to water this through and set that aside. For these two, I'm gonna put them in slightly larger pots. Probably just gonna cut this part out since you've seen me do it 1,000 times. So talking about boundaries, that is going to lead me into the next topic, is how are you going to counteract the burnout once you're there, right? It's already happened. You're going through it. What do you do? So this is my 2025 goal. One of them ultimately is to really recover from the burnout that I experienced in 2024. I can tell you my plan. Your plan might look a little different, and that's okay. Hopefully, you'll get some ideas on what that looks like for you in your life. When it comes to changing something in your life, it really boils down to two things. You need to kind of change both things in order for it to work out, in my opinion. You need to change, and sorry, I'm using a little bit of my nutrition counseling knowledge that I had to learn for school, so bear with me. It's basically you need to change the behavior, correct, but you also need to change your value connected to that behavior. If that sounds a little bit weird, I'm gonna speak on it in a bit here. I just kind of want to focus on the plan to change your behaviors to counteract burnout. So, what I plan to do in 2025 is downsize. Limiting the amount of plants in your collection is really, really going to help in the long run because it is all about balance. And you got here because you did some things that were very unbalanced, and now you got to correct that. Downsizing is a thing that people are doing. That is what I'm going to do in 2025. It's actually something that I'm planning on doing shortly. I counted up all the plants in my collection. I'm going to make a video of me just going through everything and seeing what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. Another behavior that I really want to do in 2025 that's going to kind of help me keep my balance is I want to ground. I'm not going to get like woo woo about it. I need time to literally take a breather, get myself out of whatever hole that I was just going down in, and just kind of ground and look at the bigger picture. Taking a beat, taking stock of your collection, yourself, can do no harm. It barely takes any time, and it really makes you check in with yourself and your collection. When you start losing the bigger picture is when you kind of start going down this rabbit hole that you don't even know you're in until you literally reach the bottom and you look up, right? And you're like, oh, how did I get here? If I would have taken just a moment to think about what I was doing, it could have avoided me going down this long, long road that I now need to travel even farther back up to get to where I want to be. That is another thing that's super important. The big picture of what you want your collection to look like in your life. Going on to values. If you don't really have values in your life that you actively contemplate on if my actions are matching up with my values, that is like basics, like 101. How are you doing in life? Are you doing what you want to in life? Do you feel good about the life that you're living? That is what I'm talking about. Your value system is basically the answer to this question in the plant hobby. Why did you get into this hobby in the first place? Like, what was it about this hobby that sparked joy in you? And if the answer to that is genuinely buying plants, that is okay, but you need a system if that is your value of buying new plants, having the most popular plants, then you need to work out in your behavioral plan a way to turn over plants so your collection doesn't keep growing and growing to a point where you can no longer take care of it. Why I ended up in a very strange place where I kind of looked around at my collection and I scratched my head and I was like, what am I doing? What have I been doing? Because my actions have not been lining up with my values, what I actually hold dear in this hobby. My personal answer to that question of why did you get yourself into the plant hobby in the first place is because I genuinely love when my plants grow. Taking a beat out of your day to look around at all of the new growth in your collection is literally one of the things in this hobby that I cannot go without, that I have literally been missing because I've been so overwhelmed with this hobby. This is so sad. I've been so overwhelmed in this hobby that I don't even want to, like, there were days where I didn't even want to look at my plants. And that breaks my heart to say because I loved looking at my plants when I first got into this hobby. That was the whole point for me, is to see them growing and just how satisfying it is to watch a tiny little plant you have grow into this big thing over time. That's where the joy is for me in this hobby, and I lost it. I completely lost that value. It got to the point where I couldn't even look at my plants, and that, if you want to talk about me getting emotional, that really strikes a chord in me, that I let it get that bad. And when I was reflecting and taking notes on what to speak on this video, and that realization hit me, like, I kind of teared up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That one hurt. So line up your behaviors to your values. And that is what I'm gonna do in 2025. And I wanna go over my vision board with you because I think it's kind of fun to see other people's. I'm gonna include that at the end of the video. I have these two both potted up. The Angleriana has two separate vines growing at the base of it. I totally didn't even notice that. That's funny. This video would have been so much easier with a plant scoop. I have so much dirt under my fingernails, but it is what it is. I'm just gonna add some substrate down at the bottom. The last thing that kind of helps me ground and also kind of helps me align my actions more with my values is to also ask yourself, like, what are you grateful in? Now, this can be in life, in the plant hobby. One of the things that I honestly want to take time out, and this is not going to be part of the burnout conversation too much. I want to take part of my 2024 reflection to say how grateful I am for this YouTube channel. I have spoken on it like in parts here and there throughout 2024, but really looking back at my first real year on YouTube, I looked at my analytics and just to see where I was in the beginning of 2024, January 1st, and I only had 10 subscribers to my channel. And then ending the year out where I did is a little bit nuts to me. I had this agreement with myself, right? That I was going to really try my hand at a YouTube channel in 2024. Really try. I knew I was gonna have to go through the phase where nobody really watches your content and it's just you talking to a camera literally. And I made a promise to myself that, hey, you're gonna push past that and you're just gonna continue to upload and see where you get at the end of the year. That was a goal of mine. Another goal of mine was, hey, let's see if you can get monetized. Let's see if within a year you can get 1,000 subscribers. Now, making this video now, I forgot exactly how many subscribers I had at the end of December. I like tripled my goal. I was reaching with that goal too. So the fact that this is where I'm at now is so surreal to me. I still haven't really adjusted to that people actually want to watch me and like my plant collection and like me. I think that's such, oh, that's weird. I don't know. It's just such a surreal thought to have that you can find that on the internet these days still. Yeah, you guys are the best. All that aside, in 2025, I don't have a subscriber goal. I just want to connect more in 2025. I think I built up a good amount of you that kind of tune in and watch me, and I just want to connect with you guys more. I'm not really going to be so preoccupied with how many subscribers I have. I just want to talk to the subscribers that I already have. That's just really what I want in 2025. Okay, that finishes up the last of the repots, or the potting up the propagations. This is the Wilbur Graves, Louisa Silver, and the Angleriana. Let me get this all cleaned up and we're gonna go over my goals for 2025. All Right, you guys. So we are gonna look at my vision board for 2025. Let me just zoom in on it. I made it on Canva. This is what it looks like. I just kind of use like a template and whatnot. So we are done with the plant burnout conversation of this video. So if you tuned in for that, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. We're gonna go into my vision board of 2025. It's going to be a bit personal, a bit plant related. The first thing that I want to start off with is at the very top here. I definitely want this year to be the year where I focus my efforts into building up my savings account. Since we did buy the house, it was a 10% down payment. We saw our savings take a big hit because of that. So I want to build it back up again. And I also want to make some wise choices in terms of where to put that money. I don't want it to just be earning pennies throughout the year. I really want to open an IRA this year before we get married because I don't know if you guys knew, but you can only open an IRA between you and your spouse after you're married, but not individually. Best to do it before you get married. Next thing is plant related over here. So I really want to downsize my collection. I put this garbage bag in it. This is a green waste. I think it's green, so it's not like I'm just gonna toss it in the trash. I am going to at least green waste it, but I feel like a lot of the plants that I'm not gonna keep are probably gonna end up in the trash because, again, I don't sell plants. That's gonna be challenging. I guess I can maybe coordinate people who can buy them off of me locally, but that could be just a headache in and of itself. Definitely downsize. Going down here, like I've been talking about in this video, I want to make more content that is really around just kind of like talking about topics that interest me, topics that interest you, and really having you guys provide feedback to me on my content and just connecting overall. That is what I have over here. Going in this bottom right corner, I kind of want to spice up my decor in my house a little bit better. I started when we first moved in and then it kind of tapered off towards the end of the year. So I really want to pick back up and kind of style my plants in a way that's more pleasing to look at than just a ton of plants packed in on a shelf. This one is a huge goal of 2024: grow, and then in parentheses, grow well. Yeah, and I put anthurium here. I don't know what type of anthurium this is. This is just like a stock image on Canva. Looks like a crystallinum type, but a little bit cool with the edges and how the veins are. But anyway, I want to grow my anthurium out this year. I bought so many hybrids and anthuriums. I just really want them to grow up. That is something that I would love to see, is to actually see what these plants look like, because when they're juvenile and small, you really don't know. And I think part of the attraction for me for anthurium is to actually see what they're going to become as like adult plants, right? And that requires me to grow them better. So I really want to tailor in my anthurium care in 2025 and actually see some results in it, not just be rehabbing them, because I felt like I did that a lot in 2024. This next goal I have is quality when it comes to content. So I really do want to upgrade my equipment. I got my laptop that I now use for editing, which is fan-freaking-tastic, by the way. I got a new camera, in case you haven't been able to tell. I can tell the difference, which is important to me. I got a new microphone too, and I want to get like a gimbal so my B-roll isn't quite as shaky, because I really do like adding B-roll. What my intentions are for upgrading my equipment is I just want the plants to look as great as they do in real life. And I know that that's not going to be 100% accurate because, again, it is just a camera. I want it to look better than what it did like in 2024. Upping my quality is definitely something I strive to do this year. And the last thing, oh, actually, it's not the last thing. So the second to last thing is intention. And that is just to be more mindful. So that's going to be more intentional plant buying. I will buy plants, but I really want each plant that I buy this year to mean something to me and not just do it because I'm bored or stressed or whatever have you. The next and very last goal that I have is to kind of start planning. This year, I did no planning whatsoever. I would really love to plan some things out in the future years. Definitely is not going to happen this year, but I really want to remodel my kitchen. We do have like a little bit of an outdated kitchen, so I would love to save some money this year to kind of put towards a kitchen remodel sometime in the coming years. Again, definitely not a thing that's going to happen in 2025. I got engaged in 2024, so with that comes planning a wedding, and that is the last goal that I have, is just to plan it. I don't know if we're gonna have it because, again, I'm not in like a particular rush to get married or anything like that, seeing as we've been dating for so long. To just kind of plan it out, I want it to be small. I would not like over 100 people being there. The more intimate, the smaller, the better for me. I don't exactly want to do courthouse either. I want to do something in between, like a big wedding and a courthouse. That's really just what I have going for that, and that is my vision board for 2025. We have come to the end of the video. I feel like this video was kind of all over the place. I had it outlined and everything, and I just feel like I jumped all over and it was just like a mishmash. So if you found some value in it, I'm so grateful for that. Again, want to thank everyone who subscribed last year for an awesome 2024. It was beyond my expectations, and I really have no idea what's going to happen in 2025. So I hope you guys will join me for the ride. I don't often ask this anymore, but if you aren't subscribed, then I would love for you to subscribe so you can be notified when I post. So excited to film the next video, which is going to be about plant addiction and plant shopping. I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of things to say about it, and I know that is a thing that we can all probably chip in our own opinions on, so can't wait for the conversation around that too. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.